right, let's talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here for a little bit. Look, this time of the year, now that we're about a week removed from the NFL draft, we like to take the opportunity to really dive into the weeds of each team's draft picks, specifically day 2 and day 3, sometimes the undrafted free agent signings as well, to figure out which teams added dynamic playmakers, got a lot of value, made some really great steals. And I think the Buccaneers potentially found one. I think it's a really, really great playmaker at a position of need. And running back Bucky Irving from the 4th round. Let's get into the article, then we'll talk about it more in detail on the other side. This is courtesy of ESPN. The Bucs have added the Bucs have had, the league's worst rushing attack over the last 2 seasons, 82.9 yards per game, and wanted to bolster competition. Irving is 5'9" and 192 pounds and ran a 4.55 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine, 14th among 20 running backs. While his testing was not great, the tape shows production. That's putting it mildly. He topped 1,000 rushing yards in each of his 2 seasons at Oregon, including 1,180 with 11 touchdowns in 2023. He broke or evaded an FBS high 144 tackles since 2022. That's pretty incredible. And he had 896 rushing yards between the tackles in 2023, averaging 7.1 yards per rush, which is absolutely bonkers. His 56 receptions last year also led all FBS running backs. All right, so Irving, I know he's a little small, may not be as fast as you want, but he is productive and he is a playmaker, undeniably so. I'm curious what your thoughts are on this, Miles. But first, Bucs fans, in the comment section below, who was your favorite draft pick that the Buccaneers added to the roster over last draft weekend? Was it Irving? Was it maybe their first round guy? Maybe it was another steal we're not talking about right now. Give us your favorite Bucs draft pick from this past weekend and put them in the comment section below. But Miles, give me your thoughts on the addition of Bucky Irving to this Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense.
It's a lot of Bucks out there, Nick, and I
Yeah, I know,
think
right?
that this is a great pick, though. I love this pick for the Bucks. I think there's a couple of good reasons for this. One, this guy is like the all-purpose master when it comes to running backs. This is a guy, and very impressive here. Feel this one out. He enrolled at Minnesota back in 2021 in June. He didn't even get a spring camp. He got to school late, and he still led the team in all-purpose yards that season, then transfers over to Oregon. People realize how good he was. Honorable mention all Pac-12 at that time. Led the team in rushing. Again, comes in, late to the game. He transfers after his freshman year. Led the team in rushing yards. Also did really great. Was the bowl game MVP that year, which is pretty impressive. Shines in the big moments. Then finally in 2023, second team all Pac-12, getting better. Led the team in rushing, and he led the FBS, all of college football, in receptions among running backs. This is a guy who's extremely talented out of the backfield. His last year, 413 receiving yards, 56 receptions, 7.4 yard average, 2 touchdowns, and as well, 1,180, almost 200 yards on the ground, 6.3 yards per carry, 11 touchdowns. He was a machine this last year for Oregon. He was a very valuable piece of this offense. I think he's incredibly talented, and it's like we say a lot of times, don't look at the height. Don't look at the speed. Look at the production on the field. I think that outweighs all. If they're extremely productive on the field, sometimes guys find a way to overcome things people call obstacles like height, like speed, and they're just really good football player. He has wiggle. He has vision. He has the ability to overcome a lack of speed. He still runs a 4.5 40. That's pretty fast. But the lack of speed there, this is a guy who can get out in space, find a cut, hit the hole, do whatever he needs to do. He's very good at getting yards after the catch or yards after hits. So I think this guy is going to be extremely good for the Bucs. And I think this could be the missing piece they need to get this offense rolling.
Yeah, I think Irving's going to be a massive weapon for Tampa really early in his career. And then, like you kind of alluded to, one of the problems I see in the evaluation process is that we look at a prospect and we sit there and say, he's a little small. We don't think he'll be able to break tackles. But then you watch him play and all he does is break tackles. You look at his 40-yard time or a short shuttle or watch him run drills or whatever at the combine. You say, I don't know if he's that fast. I don't know if he's that quick. And then you watch him play and all he does is outrun people and make people miss. right? So we get kind of this weird world where we look at their measurables and try and sit there and say, okay, this is how he acted in shorts and a t-shirt. So that's how he's going to perform when the pads are on. But we already have the results of him playing with the pads on. We should use that, right? The best indicator of future performance always and will ever be past performance. Anyone who tells you otherwise is lying to you, right? Irving's a guy who could break tackles. He's a guy who could make people miss. He was incredibly productive, great hands out of the backfield, like you alluded to, leading the all FBS running backs with catches. He is a great football player. He is a playmaker. He's not a perfect prospect, right? There's a lot of things he needs to work on, of course. There's a reason he fell outside and where he was available to be selected by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But this is the fact that he fell this far and the fact that people are so down on Irving, to me, is just ridiculous. Because again, you watch him play at Oregon and he was great, right? His time in Minnesota, short time, he was very productive as well. He can do a lot of different things. He runs inside well, outside well, catches the ball out of the backfield. He's mature. His teammates loved him. He was incredibly efficient, yards per carry wise. He checks every single box that you would want from a running back. But for whatever reason, because his 40 times is 4.55 instead of 4.45, and instead of being 5'9", 190, if he was 5'10", 205, suddenly he's 3 times a football player. Yeah, that's not how life works. That's not how football works. I think the Bucs got a great weapon here in Irving. I think he's going to have a really nice career, and the Buccaneers certainly need help at the running back position. According to PFF, they were ranked 30th at that position last season. I think Irving will come in right away and give that position group a massive boost.